All right, guys, we're gonna go through some coaching mistakes that we see. These are things that we want you guys to actually coach our clients up on. Our big thing is we see these things happen consistently in class, and you need to actually go over and be willing to say to this person, we need to improve this and show them the correction. So first thing we're gonna start off with is a band thruster. So Nate's gonna show a couple different positions that are a mistake. So in this first position, go ahead and give us a fault. See how the band drops? So you see how this position is bringing his hands, it comes down, go ahead and drop down, it drops all the way out. Well, we see people a lot of times do that, and don't let that happen though. What we want to do is, Nate, what he's going to do is, you want to tell him, okay, we're going to keep this up, and then from here we're going to squat down, we're going to keep that band in this top rack position. Please don't let go of the band and let it drop. It's a big thing, because what happens is when they get in this position here, they're hinging, they're no longer squatting. So we got to make sure we keep that in that hand position. The other thing I see sometimes too, is people are more like, they're really doing a push press really more than anything, right? So that's more of a push press position than a thruster. So a thrust, remember, is that full squat position all the way down, driving out. Those are things that need to be corrected. Remember, they come to us to get corrected. They really have no idea they're doing it wrong. So you just got to go through and like kind of correct that position. And that first time you show them, it might not go perfect. And you might have to show them time after time after time. And just because they keep making a mistake on it, doesn't mean we shouldn't keep trying to correct that position. The next one we're going to do is we're going to do some rowing. So a big thing on the row is that Superman chest position, right? Tall chest, engage, shoulder blades position. So he's going to go ahead and bend over, and we're going to show you proper row first. So he's going to pull up like that. You guys know what that looks like. That looks perfect. So here's some of the mistakes we see. So one of the mistakes we're going to see is people being a little too high on that position, even higher sometimes, like there, right? So I see some people put it right in their belly button, and they're just like standing tall. The other thing is that letting that back round and staying in that rounded back position. See this position here? A lot of people let them, like Nate's still got pretty good integrity compared to some of those guys. Yeah, you see how his head's way looking underneath. You want to make sure we keep this thing engaged as much as possible. Oops, sorry. That's not acceptable to let them go into that round position, because that's a very dangerous position in that upper back. So you have to force them to get in that position. A couple tips to get them in that position. One, it might need to go a little bit lighter if they can't hold that position. Another thing that I'd like to do is I'll go grab weight plate instead, and grab a weight plate, and when we go in that weight plate position, then they can hold a little bit more integrity, and we can reduce the weight a little bit too. But don't be afraid to adjust that, because we need to get those people out of that rounded position and into that strong position. Okay, next one we have is band shoulder press. Big thing I'm looking for is, you see how Nate's hands are over like this, facing forward? You'll see a lot of people put them underneath in the backwards position. And then go ahead and press from there, Nate. People make it work. Is it wrong? I mean, technically it's not wrong, but it's very uncomfortable. We need to get them in this forward-facing position and then driving up over top with their hands. And that is a correctable thing. If they'll be in this, just walk real quick. If you take your hand, turn it around, turn around. The funny thing is, if we're going to circuit style, they might come back around that very next time and do that exact thing again. You do need to go correct that again, right? You don't let it go. We go correct again, get it right. After a few times, they might finally get it right, but they are going to start there. Even the same thing with thrusters. Look at thrusters. Sometimes they put their hands facing the wrong direction. Okay, next one we have an RDL. So on our RDL, we're talking about the kettlebell mainly on this one, is we want it to be a kettlebell hinge position, right? So a hinge position, we're not looking for a kettlebell deadlift or a kettlebell squat out of this position. Right, so as you see, he's hinging back. We're trying to keep this kettlebell coming back and aiming towards the back, and he's going just to the end of range motion with those hamstrings. So he's going to show kettlebell deadlift for me. So kettlebell deadlift, you see how it's that full position. We don't want him going down there, and you can see how he's squatting to get there. Those knees are bending to get in that kettlebell position. That's a whole different movement. And kettlebell deadlifts are okay, but like in terms of that, when we're doing kettlebell RDL, we're really trying to engage the hamstrings and the butts more than we're trying to engage that quad in that full range of motion. Another thing you can sometimes see with the kettlebell with that position is people, when they're going to that bottom, keeping that head up a little too much. That's also something we can correct. See that changes position, then when he's looking down at that kettlebell, that gets a good engagement position throughout here, and that protects the neck. Okay, and the last one, we're going to switch this camera over real quick too. We're going to do a TRX Chinup. Make sure we show the proper progressions. I'm going to come back behind him so I can show that position better. Okay, so we have our TRX Chinup. So we have, first position is the true chin-up position, where his hands are underneath. Those can also go neutral. I'm okay with them going neutral. Either way, those are technically still chin-up. Either position on the hands are good. But what we're looking for is the engagement of this upper back. So I'm going to have Nate show a good one, and then we'll show a bad one. So here's a good one. And a bad one is where the eyes are looking up. And you see, that's a row. That's not a chin-up. Completely different. You will see this one, that row, more times than not. So a couple tips to get them into the right position is Nate's eyes are looking right down here at the bottom position. He's got to stay there the whole time with his eyes. That's going to help a ton. So he's looking down. That helps him keep in a good vertical position. Another thing that you want to think about here is telling them to engage the back muscles and pull through those coming up. Any specific tips you want on that one, Nate?
So on that one, I like to say is like pretend like you're hanging from a bar. If you're hanging from a bar, you're directly vertical. You're doing, so that's another cue you can have there. It's like up, just straight up, straight down, and then like Trevor said, the big thing is the eyes. Eyes are going to fix a whole lot there.
Yeah, they will. And then while we're here, let's go ahead and look at foot positions on these. So I might as well go through this while we're at it. So we have foot position number 1, which is where our feet are underneath us. And Nate's going to walk backwards a little bit. So this is going to be the easiest position for people. He can use his legs, okay? From there, to get a little bit harder, we're going to come down. He's going to put one foot out. So put that platform, there you go. Get foot out, yep, coming up and down. And now we can go from 2 feet out. And make it the hardest position in a chin-up position. So in chin-ups, that's the hardest we're going to go. We aren't going to let them put their heels up here anymore. That's going to be a no-no. We don't want to hurt our walls after we just redid them. So this is the farthest position we're going to go. If we have to get harder than that, we'll talk about that in another video when we go to a TRX pull-up. But right now, that's just a TRX chin-up. All right, guys.